¿Qué tal, mi gente? Yo soy Celestial, luchador de Seattle, Washington. Y estoy con mi carnal, el mero mero, Geno Ray. Y esto es Native as I Can Be. Escúchenlo, escríbanlo, and remember, live, love, and joy. Celestial.
Who's the podcast host that you love the most? Coming to you live from coast to coast. Call me Thunderlip, Spaceman, or G. It's just me being native as I can be.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to Native as I Can Be. This is episode number 4 of season 2. And I'm really excited about today's guest because he is a fellow actor. And I was going through his bio yesterday, and me and him actually have quite a few similarities that we'll get into. But yeah, my guest today, you're in Portland today? Yeah? Okay, all the way from Portland, Oregon, which is about 45 minutes on a good day from here in Beaverton. David Velarde, welcome to the show, David.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So I think we met on the set of Stades, which was the pilot they shot out there by like Scappoose out in that area, and we were tribal officers. I think that's where we first met, right? Or was it on?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was on that set. We, you had me, and then you had what's his name? Carlos. I believe his name is Carlos. We're the only native / indigenous guys, working on that. And it's like, so yeah, it was a great experience. Not only because we got to work on set, but at the same time, you got to meet other fellow native actors and actresses as well. So
yeah, and it kind of set it off. Yeah, so we'll get into the acting stuff here in a bit. But we graduated the same year, in 98.
98, yep.
Spent some time in Idaho. But anyways, we'll get into that. So you were born in Salem, correct?
Yep, Salem, Oregon, state capital, yep.
Okay, which is about, for those that aren't from here, I don't know, hour and a half south of here or so, or 2 maybe. I don't know. I haven't been down that way in a while, but
yeah, it's about an hour. With traffic and everything, it's about an hour.
So, but then pretty much raised in Lewiston, Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get from Salem to Lewiston?
Kind of a long story. Okay, so my parents, they met on a cross-country protest march in 1978 called Longest Walk. You go ahead and Google it.
Yeah.
But it was in response and defiance to at the time the U.S. government was not going to honor treaties that were promised to the tribes, and you sign those treaties; those are laws, and they were going to eliminate them. So in response, you had indigenous people from the United States, Canada, and even Mexico that met in San Francisco and Alcatraz Island to do like kind of a send-off, and they marched all the way across the country from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. Well, they didn't eliminate those treaty rights, and so my parents actually met on that. I actually have a cousin who's 1 week older than I am, and his mom or my dad's sister and my cousin's now late father, they also met on that same protesters march as well. Well, Dad's from New Mexico. He's of Hickory Apache descent and Navajo or Dene, Bitterwater clan. Well, my mom, she's of mixed blood Muskogee Creek and Miccosukee Seminole / European. And so they met on that protest march. And my late grandmother, the Honorable Mary Pearson, she was a tribal judge for not only the Spokane tribe, but the Coeur d'Alene tribe as well. And pretty much all the tribes in the Puget Sound area. She was of Muskogee Creek descent. She landed a job working for the Nez Perce tribe in Idaho, and so my parents had split up, and lo and behold, that's how we ended up out there in Idaho. My mom had finished her prereqs for nursing school, and the college in my hometown, Lewis Clark State College, they have one of the top nursing programs in the country. So, my mom, she got her nursing degree, offered a job, and that's kind of where we stayed.
So the jump off was there at Alcatraz. Was this during the occupation of Alcatraz,
No,
or
that had
was this
actually happened, I believe, probably about 7 or 8 years earlier.
okay?
John Trudell, the late John
Of
Trudell,
course,
very close friend of the family as well.
no kidding. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
no joke.
I
Yep,
love that guy.
yeah, no, he was a close friend of the family. Another long story. In the mid '80s, my mom and I had moved. It's one of those things. We move over to, we're here in Oregon. Move over to Idaho, and then we moved back over here to Oregon, and then we moved back over to Idaho. That kind of thing.
Hmm.
So anyhow, the house my mom and I lived in was kind of a communal house for the progressive Native American community. John Trudell in the mid 1980s lived here in Portland, Oregon, and he
Hmm.
did a lot of his poetry readings and a lot of his talks. And so
I
that
think
was,
he went to Portland State too for a
I
little while.
believe, yeah, I believe so. Yeah, you same thing. Got to use the internet these days, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but anyhow, John Trudell, we lived with him. He was Uncle John to me,
Oh,
and it was really inspiring. Just even a couple of years later, seeing him with his small part in Powwow Highway. So
and Thunderheart.
yeah, oh
Thun-
Thunderheart. I mean, like
hmm.
as far as the people who knew him before that, we were just like freaking out. We like, oh,
Yeah,
like we can't believe this is our, John, Uncle John. This is him
yeah.
on the big screen with Val Kilmer and Sam Shepard and
Oh, and
Graham.
Smoke Signals too. He was in Smoke Signals doing the traffic report.
Yeah, well, here's the crazy thing too. I grew up, being that I grew up in Idaho in Lewiston. That's right next to the Nez Perce Reservation. That's Nez Perce country.
Mhm.
Well, um, a lot of people don't realize the Coeur d'Alene Reservation is 70 miles north of where I grew up. Here's a really neat, crazy fact. I actually saw smoke signals getting filmed my junior year in high school, or shall I say, our junior year in high school.
Mhm.
I played football and wrestled in high school. Well, my non-native teammate and I were, and his parents were coming back from a wrestling tournament in the town of Coeur d'Alene. Well, you got to go through you got to go through the res or the Coeur d'Alene res
Mhm.
to get back to Lewiston. So we come upon literally right where it says, entering the Coeur d'Alene Reservation. And we're
Yeah.
sitting there and traffic is backed up for an hour. And I'm like, what's going on? Is there an accident? Oh my, I was like, I hope they're okay, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So we're driving through. All of a sudden we see this beat up white van. We see reflection boards and movie cameras and slates getting, loaded into this other van. I was like, oh, they're filming the movie. Oh, hey, I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's just another PBS special.
Mhm.
It was the weatherman scene that they had
Oh,
just got done
wow.
filming in Smoke Signals that we drove by.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
I even, at the 2018 Madras Film Festival in Madras, Oregon, I was actually able to tell Chris Iyer, the director,
Mhm.
about that whole story. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I remember. And then I'm telling him, it's late April 1997. I was like, yeah, we were
Yeah.
filming that. So he knew I wasn't
Yeah.
lying to him. I wasn't
Yeah.
bluffing him. I mean, I had really seen his, cinematic masterpiece getting filmed there. So
Yeah. That's
yeah,
wild.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, just a sidebar, go look up John Trudell, watch Smoke Signals, watch Powwow Highway, watch Thunderheart, watch the Trudell documentary that came out in like 2008 or so. And it's just called Trudell. The dude is amazing. Like he was actually on the FBI kind of watch list just because of how he talked,
Mm-hmm.
because he was so good at articulating. I mean, I don't think they wanted natives to be able to speak that well, quite honestly, and to be able to organize people and motivate people. And but yeah, and he put out a couple folk albums, I think, and yeah, he's a badass dude.
Well, well,
I'm a little jealous.
well, another crazy fact about Mr. Trudell is also that his debut album, if you want to call it that, was called Tribal Voice. Same deal. You can find it on YouTube. Well, my late auntie, Madeline Sami, that is my mom's sister. So she took her then, she kept her now former husband's last name, Quilt Man. He's known as Quilt Man or Milton
Mhm.
Sami. she was married to him for several years, and they had a daughter together. My cousin. Well, my auntie sang on Trudell's very first debut album. So as I said before, you can find it on YouTube. Just type in John Trudell tribal voice. The woman singing there, that's my auntie's voice. So she passed, unfortunately. Get this, on July 4th, 2022, and it's obviously one of the hardest experiences of my life. She helped raise me, the most kind-hearted, loving person ever. Anytime I miss her, I want to hear her voice. All I gotta do is just get on YouTube and listen to that album. And the stuff that Mr. Trudell's talking about, a lot of that stuff's happening right now. I mean, it was prophesized, and this is over 40 years ago. And the late John Trudell was talking about that.
Right. Which is real depressing when you think about it.
Well, it's just like it was foreshadowing. I mean, he knew it was happening. He saw it happening in his present day then, and now it's happening now. And people people don't want to listen, but it's like he was telling the truth.
Yeah. And he did a lot of the speaking when that's another thing to Google. Look up when the natives were occupying Alcatraz Island, and he did a lot of speaking on behalf of the people there. And once we get our clout up, like, we should make an Alcatraz documentary, because I've never seen one. I've seen little bits and pieces. I think they might have covered it on Incident at Oglala, but it hasn't really been told, and most people have never even heard of it.
Yeah. Another crazy fact for you, you can also Google this. Current indigenous actor, he's of, I believe, of Incan descent on his mother's side. Benjamin Brett, or Paco from Blood In, Blood Out. Him and his mom were there on the occupation Alcatraz. Wow. I believe so. Yeah, you can Google it. But yeah, Benjamin Brett, or his most famous role, obviously Paco from Blood In, Blood Out. I believe it's been documented that him and his mother were there.
Man, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's wild. All right. Well, okay. So the Lewiston is a very white town. Idaho's a very white state, and I know we're in Oregon. So, I mean, Oregon doesn't have a whole lot of room to talk as far as whiteness, but it's definitely a lot more liberal than Idaho. What was it like in Lewiston, next to the res, being indigenous, and Lewiston and the state being very white, and having a mixed mom too, and you being mixed, I guess, as a result, right?
Yeah.
So what was it like? How was it growing up in Lewiston, Idaho?
I'm not gonna lie, I did encounter racism. Maybe something that I kind of learned to, I guess, block out to a point. Now that I've moved out of there, I've been over here in the Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, Washington area for 15 years now. I'm not gonna lie, I did encounter a racism from the white community, some of the people of the white community, but I also encountered racism from the tribal community, or as we call lateral racism. Because we weren't Nez Perce, and my grandma was, an attorney for the tribe, and legal issues and everything else. And she's working, she's either working for or against a certain person on a certain case. So we didn't live out there on the reservation due to, possible, attack, or me being targeted in school. So that's why we moved into Lewiston. And although I had to deal with, my fair amount of racism from the white kids, there was a lot of good white people that looked out for me. I mean, ones who had actually, grown up, had good friends out there on the res, or they had grown up in some of the communities right off the reservation where there was a good, amount of Nez Perce folks. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's one of those places where you learn tolerance really fast, because I mean, it's like, your own people are sometimes looking down on you, and it's the non-natives that are like, hey, back off, leave this person alone, that type of thing. So I did encounter some racism, but at the same time, there was a lot of, like I said, a lot of good non-native folks that looked out for my family and I as well.
Well, the Klamath tribe, and we've dealt with that too, because in the late 70s, I think 77, we lost federal recognition and gave up some land rights, some water rights, and the persistent the story that was being told at the time was that we did all that, in exchange for money, and we sold out and this and that. And the truth of the matter is there was people kind of operating on the tribe's behalf that didn't have the tribe's best interest in mind. And so all these deals, and they were all kind of backdoor kind of deals. And once the tribe lost federal recognition, that kind of eliminated those treaties that were held, because once we're no longer a tribe, who are you honoring the treaty with? It's a non-entity. It's not even a thing anymore. So we fought for years and years and years to get federal recognition back, along with fighting and fighting and fighting for the water rights, the land rights. But point being, we got a lot of this like sellout stuff. And as a kid, is when I started first hearing it, I didn't even know what the hell they were talking about.
Yeah.
I had to go back and have that all explained to me by my dad about. But yeah, the lateral racism thing is weird, and you can get it from, like, kind of like you're saying, people that grew up on the res towards people that didn't, which is me. I'm a city Indian all the way to my core. I love the city,
Same
like,
here.
and I've got a lot of it, and sometimes it's joking, and sometimes it's legit, but it's a weird byproduct of white supremacy. I feel like,
Yeah.
to get us to be infighting, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a lot more barriers are getting broken down these days. I work for the state. I work for the state liquor warehouse. I unfortunately injured my knee last Monday, so I've been off work and everything, and it's
The
really aggravating.
OLCC.
Yeah, Oregon Liquor Control and Cannabis Commission warehouse. Yes, I work.
I applied for that job, dude. I swear to God, like 2 or 3 months ago, I was trying to get on working at that.
Well, put me down for a reference. I'll help you out. I've been there
Okay.
3 years. Like I said, great, real tight knit. It's almost like a work family, but
Mhm.
it really warms my heart that I work with really, I'd say probably about 15 of the people that work there in both the day and the swing shift. They're all indigenous. Doesn't matter if they're actual, indigenous to the United States
Mhm.
or to Mexico, but they claim, the ones from Mexico, they're claiming they're Mexican tribes. They're not saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're Mexican. Oh, we're Hispanic. No, you're just no." They're claiming we're Purepecha. We're Mayan. We're Aztec. They're claiming they're. So it's really beautiful. And that's probably part of the reason why I've still stayed there all these years. It's hard physical work, but I
Mhm.
have just this amazing, work family, if you want to call it that. And where I'm always on, I'm like, guys, come out to the powwow. Come on, come on.
Yeah.
They have the Aztec dancers there, and
Mhm.
have an Indian taco, have some fry bread and everything like that. They're getting to that point where they want to do it and all that. But I've been seeing a lot of unity, especially among the Latin American branch of the
Mhm.
Native Americans and everything like that. I mean, they're doing their ceremonies that are connected with their actual people and all that, and
Yeah.
it's really neat that that there's this unity now. I mean, there's no more of this like, oh well, I'm a Mexican and you're an Indian, so I don't like you,
Mhm.
that type of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny. That's where you work. Yeah. I went a couple steps into the process, and then I found out I didn't get it, but I was really hoping to get that job, actually. So
Well,
it's
it's a
wild
state
that
job,
that's where you
man.
work.
So
Yeah,
it's a state.
exactly.
It's a state, but yeah, like I said, reapply, put me down for a reference. I'll have no problem giving you a good reference.
Okay. Well, I'm a horrible worker, but that'll be on you, not me. I'm playing. So what was it? When did your parents break up? And the follow-up would be, what was it like being raised by a single mother?
My parents, they broke up early on in life. It just, as like I said, I mean, it just wasn't meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm beyond grateful that they met, obviously, because I wouldn't be here.
Right.
But it was early on in life. So, I was primarily raised by my mother. But then my late auntie, her and her ex-husband are the father of my cousin. They split up as well too. Well, my grandma had a rental house there in Idaho, and so we were all moving back to Idaho from Oregon. And so we lived in a basement, 2-bedroom apartment. My room was in a hallway, bigger hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we lived. But I mean, it was family. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't always have to be a mother and a father and this and this.
Right.
I mean, we had a family. I mean, my mom worked nights. My auntie went to college during the day because she was working on getting her teaching certificate. And I mean, it was, I'm a better person because of that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, just, yeah, I mean, my dad was a struggling alcoholic, really
Mm-hmm.
bad alcoholic for over 30 years, I mean, and he's been sober for well over 30 years now too, earned his bachelor's and his master's degree. And but I did experience some of that, the horrible traumas of the reservation. And it stuck with me. I mean, obviously it's not to the degree where so many, kids on the res, they deal with it daily, but
Yes.
it stuck with me. I mean, I can feel their pain too. So
This podcast originated from an idea I had to walk across the United States, starting in Klamath Falls, where my tribe's from, ending at Bureau of Indian Affairs. But I was going to ping pong around to different reservations just to, not just to, but because I wanted to show people what is happening in the United States, the country they live in, that they don't even know about.
yeah,
And because some
exactly.
of those reservations are like third world countries, dude.
Yeah, they
And
are.
because I have a white mom and a native dad, but I grew up with my mom, uh, through no fault of her own, a lot of times I didn't feel connected to my native ancestry. So it was going to be like this platform to raise awareness, but it would also be like my own walkabout where I get to discover all these things about myself. And I was going to stay with families and talk to tribal leaders. And the scope of it got really big and overwhelming. And then I decided I would do a book, and then I didn't feel like writing a book. So then it turned into this. And then the idea being, if I can get some steam with this, maybe I can go back and revisit that idea once I have some clout.
Yeah, yeah. I think I actually think I remember on some of your posts you were talking about, and this is years ago. This is like we worked on Stadies 2017. No, 2018. We worked on 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So that's over 7 years ago. Um, but I think even when we were kind of there in the tent, during
Yeah.
takes, you were talking about that, and I was talking about, I want to get, a TV, I want to get a, TV show and even movies filmed here involving the, not only the urban tribal community, but the ones from around the area and stuff,
Yeah.
including, I mean, Klamath. I mean, you're Oregon too. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you have just as, I mean, you need to be your people, you and your people's voices need to be seen and heard too. So, and, and I also, like I said, I have a strong connection to the Warm Springs tribe as well through my cousin. And
Mm-hmm.
having spent time out there on the reservation as a child out in Simnasho, um, and then even also my brother, or what would be deemed by colonizer standards as half brother. He's my maternal brother. We have the same mom, different dads. My
Mm-hmm.
maternal brother is enrolled member of the Siletz Nation, so that's on the
Oh, okay.
coast. So
So that's
I
on the coast. Yeah.
yeah, so I had spent a lot of my good chunk of my childhood out there on the Siletz res growing up and everything too, and just it like I said, I'm technically a desert native due to my enrollment, but I didn't I didn't grow up even remotely close to the desert. I mean, most of my tribal ceremonies and experiences have been predominantly Pacific Northwest or even Midwest Lakota. And so I mean, yeah, I mean, Nez Perce ceremonies, the Puget Sound tribes, Yakima, Warm Springs competing in their lawn, or participate in their longhouse ceremonies. I mean, so I'm on my journey, just like you. I'm on my journey too to get back to my people in the Southwest to to participate in those ceremonies and to really know that, because I know I'm Native, and I've been in all these these ceremonies and cultural events. They're technically not me though.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And especially it does feel like a lot of especially at powwows, they kind of follow a script of sorts that's made them sort of blend together. So yeah, getting back to your specific tribe ceremonies and experiencing those, yeah, that would be major.
Yeah, but it's a geographical difference in a lot of it, because most of my on my dad's side of the family is from Arizona and New Mexico, and I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest. And I mean, like as I said before, I mean, I feel beyond blessed that I was able to participate and experience those ceremonies, and it was truly an honor. It's just that to find that wholeness, like I said, I'm on my journey just like you're on my journey too. So that's I'm still working on that.
Yeah. So you graduated University of Idaho in 2005? 2002. Okay, so you blasted straight through, it seems like. 98 to 2002.
Yep, 4 years.
So my University of Idaho story is, when I lived in Idaho, I went to Boise State University, which would be University of Idaho's biggest rival. And so my girlfriend Laura, I think, has generations of family that have went to University of Idaho. So the very first time I meet her dad, we sit down at this restaurant, and he's kind of like, he's being a dad towards the new boyfriend. And this was like 9 years ago. First thing he ever says was, "So, Boise State, huh?" And I was like, "Yep." And I was like, "Is it okay if I still sit here?" he kind of laughed. I was like, "I didn't graduate, if that makes a difference." And then, but I was like, he laughed, and that kind of like, released some of that pressure. But very first thing he calls out is that I went to Boise State University. And I was like, this is not going to go well. But it was fine. We ended up getting along really well. But
that's great. I'm for all intents and purposes, I'm technically the only university. Well, yeah, I'm only in both sides of my family, I'm the only University of Idaho graduate. But the funny thing is that on my mom's side, both my late grandma, the one who I told you was a tribal judge, she got her bachelor's from Boise State, because her and my mom and her siblings all lived in the Boise area. So my grandma's a BSU alum. And then I have a cousin, the second cousin on my mom's paternal side. He's also a Boise State alum as well. So as far as Idaho universities, there's more Boise State graduates on my mom's side of family than there is Idaho graduates. It was a great time at the University of Idaho. A lot of amazing professors. More of a native student body, or tribal student body there. Let's see. I also walked on and played football for a couple of years. I was the equivalent of Rudy. If any of us remember the Sean Astin movie from our you and I's junior or middle school years, Rudy. So I got to play in one game. I actually was in 10th place. So I actually did better than Rudy did, technically.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Also boxed as well. Did the Tough Man tournament up there at the Coeur d'Alene, thankfully I almost did get knocked out. Thankfully I didn't get knocked out, but I survived.
The Tough Man were like the 2-round or the 2-minute, like 4-round fights or something like that.
Well, it was the 3 1-minute rounds.
Oh, 3 months. Oh, okay.
Believe me, those
That's
3
a
minutes.
Slobber knocker.
Those 3 minutes, they feel like you're running a marathon. I mean, it's like, I mean, it was a great way. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Obviously, the day after, when your eyes are swollen and you're all beat up and everything like that. But it was great. I also worked as a bouncer as well. They had 18 and over dance club there on Main Street there in Moscow, where the University of Idaho is located. And it was a real eye opener. Thursday night was country night. So being that it's, a college town, they get all the rednecks from all the smaller towns come in to do, the two-step and everything else.
Yeah, the Watusi.
Yeah. And then Friday nights, usually once a month, they'd have drag show nights, or for the Two-Spirit community, or what we call in our, in our culture, the Two-Spirit, LGBTQ. And those are some of our biggest money makers. I mean, they would sell out. They'd have like all these drag queens perform, and it was a really neat cultural experience, seeing that, that kind of culture. And then other nights, it would actually be Black Fraternity Night, and people were like, well, Idaho Black Fraternity Night is like, well, you have Washington State University, the main Pullman, the main campus over in Pullman, Washington, which is 6 miles down the road, and they have the University of Idaho. Well, you're going to have a fairly good sized African American student athlete / student population. Yeah. So it was pretty neat to experience all those different backgrounds, and it was for Idaho of all places, especially the Panhandle region, which I mean Idaho obviously gets really bad rap for the Aryan Nation compound being up in Sandpoint and everything else. I mean, literally being that close to that much kind of hatred and racism and homophobia and all that, and then there's these people still celebrating their lifestyles and stuff. That was really neat to experience.
Totally. Another thing. So you did boxing. I did MMA. I did MMA for years, and I had a record of 5-2, 1 decision loss, and one time I got knocked smooth out up in Montana by this other native dude named Leo Bercier.
I've actually heard of him.
Yeah, he does a lot of the bare knuckle fights right now that are popular or getting popular. He's a beast, dude. There's no knocking that dude out. I don't care who you are. But anyway, he made short work of me, but I got a payday out of it, so it was all good. And also, you went for a comm degree, and I was going for a communications degree. What was your plan with the communications degree?
Obviously looking into getting into TV and radio broadcasting. The unfortunate thing is that I finished in 4 years, and I essentially packed too much experience in life into 4 years, where I didn't have to play football because I wasn't on scholarship. I didn't have to box, obviously, because I wasn't getting paid any money. Where I could have been using that free time to get internships, and I actually did try to get on the college radio station, but as both you and I growing up here in the Pacific Northwest, the whole woke hipster post grunge, Seattle grunge scene and everything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those bands who hit the big time in the alternative scene in the early 90s, they got their college radio airplay on college radio. Their airplay on college radio. Well, I'm a metalhead, but I'm all around. I've seen everybody from, Slayer and Metallica to Jewel to Tori Amos to DMX and Snoop Dogg. I mean, I'm me. I like all those bands, and I'll find some kind of connection. And the people running the radio station, the students, of the whole woke hipster content, they couldn't handle that, and of course, I'm a football player, so I'm the enemy. I'm a macho jazz, like, I'm native for crying out loud. I'm a brown guy do you know my struggle? Do you know the stuff I had to overcome? So I never could get any actual radio broadcasting experience. So I graduated with a piece of paper, and had to do manual labor after that, if you want to call it, to make a living. So
which happens. I mean, that's all I've ever done, driving a forklift, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get into radio, and I just because I've music's always been a top priority ever since I was a little kid. So I thought being a radio DJ would be all right. And I actually thought I could sort of change the way music was presented in Idaho, specifically Boise, because I thought it was really corny. But Yeah, and I tried to get down in internships there, and it's harder to break into than I would have thought.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, everything works out, I suppose.
Well,
I
yeah.
get.
Well, yeah.
Um, so how did you get from Lewiston back to Oregon?
Um, well, as I have plenty of stories.
Hmm.
I had actually
Part
landed.
of our culture, dude, storytelling.
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to keep alive over here.
yeah, definitely. Well, I got plenty of stories. That believe me. I had actually ended up meeting my now ex-wife or children's mother during the time I was, had moved back to Idaho or was living in Idaho, and uh, she's a surgery nurse, and so she can pretty much get a job anywhere she wants, and she gets paid well for it. I mean, she's worked hard. She went to
Yeah.
school and studied. But I was just struggling like crazy just to find anything that would, I could use my degrees with. And I went back to school and actually got a second degree in 2008 because most of my credits transferred over. So I was able to get a second degree in public relations. Well, I tried getting public relations jobs around there and couldn't land anything. And it's like, this is driving me crazy. I can't stand
Hmm.
here anymore. I mean, most of my family's moved over to the Portland area. I was like, and we were kind of having problems at the time too. And I was like, look, I'm moving over to Portland. Whether you go with me or not, that's your deal and stuff. And she, ended up to try to help us repair our marriage. We all moved over here to the Portland area. Well, I mean, things just didn't work out, and we ended up getting a divorce on, get this, 2/14/14. So Valentine's Day of 2014, we got legally divorced. Yeah. As I said, it's one of those things where we were great best friends, but as far as, the marriage chemistry part, it just never could work out for us. But
Hmm.
she's done a great job of raising our children, and our daughter graduated from high school back in June. So definitely proud daddy for that. Um, but yeah, I ended up moving over to Portland and started applying for jobs over here. Same deal. Couldn't land anything with any of my degrees. I just didn't have the right kind of guidance, if you want to call it that.
Hmm.
So I ended up working at a Walmart for quite a few years, and then at that time, the big old oil boom was going on out in North Dakota, and so I put in some applications and ended up moving over out to North Dakota for a year, and like I said, met a lot of different people, from a lot of different ethnic backgrounds. I met Creoles and Cajuns from
Hmm.
Louisiana.
Louisiana, yeah.
Yeah, I met people from Mexico. It was a really, I mean, ethnically diverse environment, despite it being an extremely white North Dakota. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and that was right about 3 years before the whole Standing Rock occupation went down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was taking a toll on with, especially with my kids and everything. So I ended up quitting and moving back to Portland. Well, I had a friend who I had worked with who had done an internship for a now former network TV show that was being filmed here in Portland. I was like, hey, how do you get in for even being an extra on those? Like, well, here's the website, check it out. So uh checked it out and submitted my application, and 2 weeks later they called me, want me to act on Grimm or work on Grimm. So that's how the whole film TV acting thing got started, was just me moving back from North Dakota and putting in an application. And that's kind of what I feel I've found my life's calling, if you want to call it that, even though it's 11 years later, but still I'm beyond happy doing it. So
Hmm. So Grimm was your first acting experience, first professional
yep,
acting experience. How did it feel walking on that set for the first time?
it really just felt surreal. I mean, because
Hmm.
you spend your entire life, we, as us being 80s kids, we spent our entire life watching all those shows on TV. It didn't matter if it was ABC, NBC,
Hmm.
CBS, whatever, or even the movies we grew up with. It's just like it was like, oh my god, this is, I mean, I've waited my entire life to do this, and now I'm actually
Yeah.
here. And to a point, it seems really simple, but at the same time, there's still that aura of magic. And so,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had done some stuff before I moved up to Portland when I lived in LA, and I don't remember what the first thing I did was, but I like the scope of it is amazing. And I think that's what people overlook or don't know or whatever, have a blind spot. For that 20-second scene of two people talking half a day
Yeah,
because they're
yeah,
setting cameras, resetting cameras, doing lights. They got to do the line this way and that way and the third way. And it is a huge, huge ordeal. And you have so many people running around. And that was always my favorite thing. Because if you're an extra in Portland, I mean, you're not going to you can't do it enough to make a living, but
no,
get a couple bucks, maybe take a day off of work and just watch how this whole what's that phrase? How the sausage is made, basically. It's
yeah,
such a huge process. And I was on you did Portlandia too, right?
yeah,
And Librarians.
yep,
Yeah, so I was on both of those shows too, and I like to compare the size of the Portlandia production to the Librarians production because they are miles and miles apart. Um, the one I was on was at the racetrack. I mean, it was just massive. The amount of people there, and then Portlandia was like a handful. It felt like, and yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Portlandia, it's kind of funny because I worked on Portlandia twice. Well, um, one of my scenes actually, I mean, it's on my YouTube channel where you can see me right there behind the two main actors, Fred and Carrie.
mhm.
This is it's a coffee shop scene, and you can see me clear as day there. So I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, at least there was one native that was actually on that show, or it's documented it was on that show and everything. Um, but I noticed that Portlandia was probably a little more laid back, and
mhm.
a little more comical. It's and improvisational. It's really funny because
Yeah,
the other episode I worked on was supposed to be at a dance club, and so we're all at this dance club. Well, the two main that the main actor and actress, they finish off this dance scene. Well, the scene's supposed to be taking place in 1990. Well, what was the biggest late night TV show on network TV when we were kids? The Arsenio Hall show.
yeah, Arsenio, yeah.
So I start just doing the whole dog pound show and everything like that. All of a sudden, the director, Jonathan Crizell, his eyes light up. It's like, oh my god, everybody do Arsenio in this next take and everything like that. So if you
That's
were to
tight.
watch that scene after they get done with their dance off, you hear everybody doing the Arsenio's dog pound chant. But I
Yeah,
was the one that he had originally, as you want to say, influenced that because
yeah.
after they got done, I started doing the hoo hoo hoo. Nobody else, and then the director's like, do Arsenio next take and everything like that. So that was probably the
Oh man,
funnest production I worked on. But yes, Librarians definitely, as I say, more bigger and more epic and everything else, like
yeah.
which is kind of what the show's about anyway. So
Right. It is, yeah. The episode of Portlandia I was on had Jeff Goldblum on it.
oh,
And
nice.
I was just like kind of waiting, and we were in like a bar kind of a scene, and I was just standing outside waiting to go in, and Fred Armisen comes walking around the corner in like full drag and
Yeah.
just kind of gives me this, he's like, hey, and I'm like, hey, Fred, and then like Jeff Goldblum is like weirder in person than he is on any movie, any show you've ever seen. He was like in between takes, he's like talking to everybody. He's so friendly, but he's like he'd be like, what's your name? Oh, Aaron, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've known some Aarons. Yeah, what do you do? Oh, you work in a bakery. Oh, right. And he's always like just moving weird and just, oh, right. Yeah, yeah. And you're just like, this guy's a trip, dude. But yeah, that was probably my favorite on set experience was him just like talking and riffing with people and just being weird, and that was a fun one. I had a good time on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, what did you do on Grimm?
I played everything from they call it a perp, or basically like somebody who's causing trouble in downtown.
Yeah.
And then what else did I do on Grimm? Oh, I played a bouncer, which was really funny because here I am walking around, because I'm walking around like that,
Yeah.
and people are like, oh, you play a really good bouncer. It's like, it's one of my former jobs, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
What
You
else did I,
went you went method 10 years before you
yeah,
got the
yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to think. There was a couple other things, but yeah, actually my very first time ever working on a show, there's like a 2-second clip you can see me where I'm sitting on a bench arguing with this redheaded woman and this African American cop, and that actually made it on the show. So my very first time ever working on a show, I made the final cut, and
Yeah.
I was just like, man, I got to stick with this. This is really, I've dreamed about this my whole life, even growing up in Idaho. I mean, I dreamed about this, so it's like I've been at it 11 years now, and have no desire to stop. So.
Yeah, dude. And the last one I did that pilot they shot here with Wes Studi was in it, and I never can say her last name. Janice
Schmieding,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so they shot a pilot here, and I went and did that one, and they I was like hoping to God I got to meet Wes. Like that was like my big dream that day, but he wasn't on set that day. But I would have totally fanboyed out on him. But which I know you're not supposed to do and all that, but I was like, I don't give a shit. When am I gonna get a chance to meet this dude again?
Yeah. No, yeah.
But that was a fun one, and the show didn't get picked up, but they actually were right before I went, or the night before, the casting director emailed me and asked if I knew any black guys that would want to be an extra on the show. And I'm like, I mean, I only know like 3 black guys, so I'll ask them. And like, but one of them did, and he was a guy I used to work with, and like, so he came down to the set, and then it was tight because me and him just got to hang out all day, go shoot a scene, come back to the holding area and catch up. And then they had like Greek food for lunch, and I'm like, dude, this is killer. And then they paid us extra to use our cars as extras, basically as background. And that one was a lot of fun. But I don't know, I'm probably never going to get to see it unless they just release a pilot on YouTube for some reason. But
yeah, it's really unfortunate those pilot episodes, they just can't seem to get picked up, because I mean the same thing happened with Stadies. I mean, thought, oh yeah, this is going to be huge, and then next thing you know, you find out they didn't get picked up. So
yeah, I'm friends with the guy that was the cop on that episode. I forget what his name is. Justin Cortez, I think his name is. Yeah, it's a bummer, but that's Hollywood for you.
Yeah.
So do you audition for other stuff too, or you just?
Yeah, I do actually have a talent agent. He's been really cool about hooking me up with all kinds of auditions and everything. I mean, stuff from feature films, even though maybe it's only like 2 or 3 lines, to he actually landed a commercial for a legal, or for an attorney firm a couple years back. So that was kind of neat. But yes, I've just been auditioning, and it's, I mean, obviously you want to land the part, but it's really just mind blowing considering where I originally came from. And it's a long way from Lewiston, Idaho. That's all I can say really in that regard.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of auditions too. I did a commercial for Alvondi Law Group. Oh, you were in the Northwest Area Indian Health Board. Weren't you in those?
Yeah, I actually did. That was after like literally a 5-year hiatus. I mean, that the last time I had worked on any project was Stadies, and Portland kind of dried up after that. I mean, they quit filming here, and I hadn't gotten anything for years. I mean, I'd gotten a couple of auditions at one of the casting studios downtown. But yes, I wasn't in that, where I play a two-spirit person. So for about 3 hours, I had to hold another guy's hand. I'm coming from my manhood and sexuality, so I didn't feel threatened about it. And at the time, it was my then girlfriend's birthday right around the corner, and I wanted to make sure I had enough money to, get her a birthday present. So, but yes, it was really neat doing that commercial, and I mean, I've been trying to find it, just haven't been able to find it yet.
I found it for about a week because I was on them too.
Oh, nice.
The that group, Northwest Area Indian Health Board, they had it on YouTube for a little while, and now I don't think it is.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, but I was watching because I kept looking for it forever, for like months. I'm like, when are they going to release this thing? And then I finally found it. But then I was like, wait a minute, that's David. Like, I didn't even know he was in these. And yeah, I had to do something similar. I was holding hands and having coffee with the guy, and yeah, I was like, whatever, I don't care. It's. And then the highlight of that shoot though was they had a scene out at Cannon Beach. So a bunch of us drove down there. I mean, there's probably like 12 of us, all Indigenous actors, some elders, and some younger people. And they brought in damn, I can't remember the dude's name, but he makes like bows in this traditional way. He's Modoc, I think. But he was there to show somebody how to like light a fire traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up being picked for that. And it was all photos. They weren't doing any video. But anyways, so we were all just hanging out on the beach, and the sun was going down, and we lit a fire. And right before we started, one of the women did a song, and we were all just like closing our eyes. And like, I have a really strong connection with ancestors and people that have passed. Like, I can usually physically feel when they're around me.
Yeah.
And so we were all in this circle, and she's singing, and like the vastness of the ocean and the sun going down. It was like this amazing moment, and I could feel this like set of hands kind of resting on my shoulders,
Nice.
right? And then she gets done singing, and like nobody had to say anything, but everybody knew what that moment was.
Yeah.
Like, everybody had some sort of experience in that couple minutes. Because I mean, you looked around and everybody was almost like stunned. Like, she got done and everybody was just like, man, because there was a heaviness to it, but a good heaviness to it.
Well, that's awesome. That's beautiful. I mean, just kind of one of those like serendipity moments and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool that you and the rest of the indigenous cast were able to experience that, especially with the sun going down and
Mm-hmm.
right next to the ocean and all that. So yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah, and so I was like, so can we come back next week and do that? Because that filled my cup for quite a while. And I still see some of those guys around at powwows and stuff around Portland too. Yeah, that was good. It's fun. I thought that was funny. We were both on that commercial, never crossed paths, but
No,
I think when I saw you, you were walking down a path or something, holding somebody's hand, like coming
yeah,
towards the camera or something like that.
yeah. I forgot what his name is. Real nice guy, real cool. We hit it off. I believe he said he was of mixed Latino and Apache descent.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, real nice guy to work with.
Yeah. So what's the dream role for you?
Honestly, I've actually branched off into screenwriting, and I already have a copyright. I put up I paid the fee and everything, so I have the copyright certificate. I wrote a pro wrestling feature film script. I don't even know what I'm doing. It's just one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to get it to people who actually know what they're doing, help me like edit, and polish all that. I wrote a pro wrestling screenplay that's centered more around the tribal community. So the crazy thing is about pro wrestling is that, and I'm sure you know the history as well with you having done some of the stuff, worked on doing a pro wrestling training and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
grown up here in the Oregon area. Back in the day, they had those territories, and Portland, Oregon was the center for the Pacific Northwest, and so you had a lot of big time legendary wrestlers who worked here in Portland before they hit the big time. Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper, the Iron Sheik, Jesse
Harley Race came through, Ric Flair.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much pro wrestling history right here in the Rose City, and but the crazy thing was too is that they didn't stay here in Portland. They toured around the Pacific Northwest. Well, when I was a kid, they used to actually come out to the Piney Was, which is the Nez Perce out there in Lapley, Idaho, the Nez Perce Tribal Community Center, and the old Don Owen owned Portland Wrestling. They used to put on shows out there, and so I actually so a lot of my screenplay is kind of based on just, the a pro wrestling promotion coming out to the res and antagonizing people. And one of the I think he did some matches in the WWE. But one of the pro wrestlers that was at one of the shows, I'm friends with them on Facebook, and I commented on one of his pictures that he had posted of his days working here in Portland. I was like, yeah, I remember seeing you out there in Lapley, Idaho on the Nez Perce Reservation. I was like, you really know you're earning your money when you have elderly Native American women throwing trash at you, hitting you with their purse, trying to pick fights.
Yeah.
You're getting paid now.
Yeah. That's some good heel work right there.
Yeah. So I wrote a pro wrestling feature film, and then I also branched off into I wrote a pilot episode based on the urban Native experience here in Portland. It's copyrighted, so it's the City Indians, but it's not like the Indian. It's the wrestling NDN, so it's called City Indians. So I've done that. I've also branched off also into writing a children's book that's kind of based on my daughter's daycare shenanigans she got into when she was little. So that's kind of what I'm doing for right now. I mean, I'd like to land roles and stuff like that, and kind of with my screenplay stuff. And I mean, I'll have a small role, but the years of the me fantasizing about the paparazzi following me around, or this and this, is like, no, that's that. I've grown, and I'm a humbler person now, so I don't need that.
Right. Yeah. And we might have just became best friends, dude, because I wrote my first episode since I relaunched this was with a luchador from Seattle.
Yeah.
And I did some training. I did some pro wrestling training back in the day. What was I going to say? Oh, and the children's book. I wrote a children's book, and it was about luchadors. And I, by the way, have no connection other than friendly to Latinx communities. There's not one drop of that type of blood in me. I just love luchadors. I love wrestling. And so I decided one day to write a book about it. And the whole thing rhymes, and you flip one side over, it's from the heel perspective, and then you flip it over and it's from the baby face. And since we're talking lucha libre, it would be the rudo and the técnico. But anyways, so writing a screenplay about pro wrestling coming to a res, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And you have some lived experience to pull from.
Lived experiences, and I actually have connections to two of the pro wrestling promotions here in the Portland area as well too. I used to volunteer film one of the pro wrestling promotions. I didn't get permission to drop the organization, but they do a lot of their matches out there at the North Portland Eagles Lodge. So go ahead.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
So great people, great great owners and stuff. And I have nothing but great things to say about them. But also, I worked with the co-owner of another pro wrestling promotion here in town as well too. So definitely got the connections with the pro wrestling talent, but then I'm trying to bring in as much of the tribal talent on a local level too. I mean, granted, you got to bring in the legendary actors, say Wes Studi, Gary Farmer, Tanty Cardinal, Adam Beach, all those people. Right. But then there's a lot of natives, including ourselves, that we've been paying our dues for years. I mean, we've been putting ourselves out there, and so, I mean, I want to bring there's enough tribal talent here in the area that I really want to just bring that in as well too. So I'm just kind of mixing it all up, and but I just one day decided, I'm going to write a screenplay about wrestling and everything, and pro wrestling and some of my experiences, and I've some of the people who kind of been helped me polish it, they're like, man, this is really funny. And I was like, well, it's kind of like what wrestling does. It's supposed to be funny at the same time it's supposed to be mad too. So
I think I'm thinking now back, one of the times I messaged you was because I saw you outside the Moda Center, and I think you were going into SmackDown or Raw or something one time.
Yeah, I think it was SmackDown. Yeah, a buddy of mine, I'd worked with him. He was an at-risk teenager at the time, and I was working for a company that works with special needs and at-risk people. And he moved over here and got engaged to a lady, and he's like, hey, I got these extra tickets to go see it's like SmackDown. I was like, oh, cool. So I mean, I've seen a couple of the WWE shows here in town and stuff, and so I mean, I don't know. I mean, you from us when we were kids watching it on TV to being there, it's like, maybe it seemed like a little more magical when we saw it on TV and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I have to give the utmost praise to the local indie shows here. They're really entertaining. The wrestlers, I mean, they're getting peanuts compared to what those guys at the Moda Center were getting paid, and they're really just laying it all on the line. And so, yeah,
totally. Che and me, my son Che will be 7 this coming Tuesday, but he's a huge wrestling fan. We've been to a couple of Raws, because there for a while it was like his birthday being in September. There was one SmackDown or Raw that came around September, and there'd be another one in January, which is my birthday. So we were going to like 2 a year, right, for our birthdays for a couple years there. And this year they didn't do it. There's no show here this month or in January, but we went to one a couple months ago, a local one, for Prestige Wrestling. And it was our first cage match. So they, set up the cage, and these guys had this crazy brawl, and they were fighting outside of the cage, which I thought was funny, because I kind of thought the point of the cage was to keep people in, but somehow they ended up out, and they had to crash through some tables. I mean, we were going crazy, dude, and the atmosphere is so different from a WWE show, where a WWE show is much more polished and timed out and overproduced, I think, to a degree, and these guys were just out there just killing each other. I mean, it was amazing. I think I had more fun at that show than at a WWE show. And the promotion you mentioned before, we went to one of the shows out at that Elks Lodge. It's out there by like St. John's, right? Kind of out that way.
Yeah, Northeast Portland.
Yeah, so we went to one of those too, and it's the same thing. We were all packed in there like sardines, and it was hot and sweaty, and those guys were just going off, and we were having the best time, just screaming our heads off. So yeah, that idea sounds amazing, man. You gotta let me know what happens with that.
They have, I don't know if she's still alive, because it was about 10 years ago, but they used to have this elderly woman at that same promotion show out there that every week tried to pick a fight with one of the wrestlers. I even have it on video where they said, shut up, old lady, and she starts pushing her chair out of the way, and she's all waddling towards them. I'm gonna kick your ass. And the wrestler like, shut up. And I mean, it was hilarious, where you can hear me like yelling for her to fight him and stuff like that. So,
old lady heat. I love it.
Yep.
So one of the things you mentioned before, or I guess off air, was you have a part in Missing Indigenous. What can you say about that?
That was a really neat experience. It was a short film contest called the Portland 48-Hour Film Contest. I'm sure you've heard of it. And I highly encourage any up and coming actor or actress, or even people who are more established, to participate in, because it's like you draw a genre out of a hat, and then you have 48 hours to write, produce, film, edit, everything. I mean, it's literally 40 hours. The clock's ticking. Well, it was the first time that it was an all native cast. Everybody from the director, producer, talent, soundtrack, everything was all tribal folks. And it's really funny too, because we as far as native films go, it's like, we're not used to winning. I mean, really, I mean, Dances with Wolves. I mean, I couldn't believe every other, it's like, and the winner is Dances with Wolves. Like, natives are actually winning this stuff, So, anyhow, we were all sitting there, and I was with my then girlfriend and daughter, my then girlfriend at the time and daughter, and they said, and the overall winner of the 2017 48-hour film competition is Missing Indigenous, and everybody's all hooting and hollering.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, okay, good for them. And I'm thinking, and the next thing, my then girlfriend, who wasn't native, she's all like, you guys won. I was like, what? Oh, we won. So we actually won the Portland 48-hour film competition. And then qualified to go to the it was called Filmapalooza, or it's the Short Film World Championships in Paris, France. And so the director and producer got to go over there, and I think they did win a special award, but it was really, I think it was enlightening for a non-native viewing audience to understand about the whole MMIW epidemic, especially out in the reservations and reserves up in Canada. So, but yeah, I mean, like, we won, really? So
Yeah, that's killer. Yeah, is that available anywhere to watch?
oh shoot, I think you can get the trailer find the trailer on YouTube and everything. But yeah, that was just, it was like I said, yeah, there was a lot of people that were really surprised, like, does that really happen on reservations? And like, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I do want to do a whole episode about that, but I definitely got to get my game up because I know a lot about it, but I'm certainly not an expert. So got to get the right person in here that knows what they're talking about and can really tell that story well. It's not a it's sad that the basis basically indigenous women go missing at a far higher percentage than any other ethnicity group. And it's definitely underreported and not covered as extensively as a lot of other people that go missing. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure you've probably heard about the quadruple murders that happened at the University of Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah, very terrible tragedy. And all of the Vandal tribal family, we all mourn with those families too. We all know how it feels. Crazy thing is that I was actually at the football game because I do my yearly University of Idaho football game every year. I was actually at the football game the night, when those murders happened later on that night. And I mean, I was actually staying down in Lewiston because all the hotels are booked and stuff. And I'm driving back the next day, and my then girlfriend calls me up and she's like, "Did you hear about what happened at the University?" I was like, "What?" And she tells me. I was like, "What?" And just to see all the worldwide publicity and everything. I mean, it's kind of like, this is an obscure, relatively unknown, university. And now all of a sudden it's on the front page of People and Time magazine. And I'm glad they finally convicted the garbage that had did it. And I'm glad to see that he's being harassed and tortured in prison. But I'm just at one point, I'm like, that's great that, the family has some closure, but at the same time, it's like, where's the publicity for the MMIW? Because I saw massive front page news, but I was even surprised to see that there was any kind of mainstream coverage for Emily Pike when she ended up missing too. And so, I mean, that's really the frustrating thing about the mainstream media is that the tribal folks are still being ignored for this horrible epidemic. But people from my college alma mater who weren't native, they get all this worldwide publicity. And I'm not saying that it lessens it or anything. It's just that, I mean, where's the publicity for this contingent of women as well?
I think her name was Gabby Petito. She went missing. This was a couple years ago, and it's a similar story. The coverage was wild because she was a young, blonde white girl who had like a YouTube or a vlog or something, and the coverage for her was insane, which is fine. And I'm not decrying that a lot of people were trying to find this missing young woman. But they had a Netflix special that was 3 or 4 episodes long, and at the very end of the very last episode, they had about a 1-minute blurb where they let somebody native come on and say something about missing and murdered Indigenous women going missing at a higher rate, and where's the coverage? I mean, it was the tiniest fraction. They kind of just like, it was almost like, here you go, we'll say something about it, but it's definitely underreported. I don't think the claims are claims maybe isn't the right word, but when people are trying to find justice and find their people, I don't think it's taken as seriously. I don't think it's a high priority. Just it's fucked up, but that's the United States for you, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's just a lot of it. I think is just going to have to be unity. You're going to have to. I mean, these the families, the non-native families, they really. I mean, I really wish they could get behind the MMIW as well and say, hey, these people matter too. We appreciate all the coverage that you've given to our family members, but these people, they matter. They matter just as much. And I really wish and hope that the families of these non-native victims, they will start speaking out more, especially for the tribal communities.
Yeah. One of the shows I have coming up was with this guy named Jason Moore, who's a drummer for Dead Animal Assembly Plant. They're a metal band, and they do this. They get all geared up, and one of his things is he like paints his whole head white, and then he has like blood, but he does the handprint over his mouth, the red handprint, and that's his nod to Miss. He's an indigenous dude too, and
Yeah.
He that's his way to kind of speak on that issue as well. So I'm actually going to go to one of his shows and get some B-roll and loading in and all the different stuff, and then interview him at the show before he goes on. Like that one's going to be killer. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, awesome. They playing? They going to be any venue? Are they going to be playing around here?
Yeah, it's October 10th. I can send it to you. Yeah, Dead Animal Assembly Plant is the name of the band.
Awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get back into the acting stuff. Why do you think it's important that our stories are being told authentically and by us?
Oh yeah. Well, it has to come. It has to come from us. I mean, you've had some fantastic non-native directors who've been able to tell. I mean, Dances with Wolves and Thunderheart and what else is I'd even go as back as far as the Outlaw Josie Wales with Clint Eastwood. I mean, or one who flew over,
Dan George was that guy's name.
Yeah, or one who flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Yeah, with Samson, right?
Yeah, Will Sampson. Yes,
Will Sampson. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you've had some really fantastic non-native, or even the now Killers of the Flower Moon,
right?
Martin Scorsese did fantastic job of portraying the tribal people in a very positive light, but
yeah,
still it needs to come from the tribal community, and so and that's the one thing I'm really pushing for with even my productions. So obviously I can't direct to save my life. I'm terrible. I suck. But I know other good, talented native directors, and so I'm really hoping that my screenplays can get produced, that I can bring them on board to help tell that story with their cinematography and yeah. So it's at the end of the day, it's imperative that it comes from us. I mean, it's the same thing goes for the African American community. I mean, obviously. A non-black person trying to direct the Friday movies or any of that stuff, it's not going to fly. Whereas he had F. Gary Gray, I believe, was the one who directed the Friday movies, and even Straight Outta Compton. That's their their voices and their story, and it has to be told by that actual group.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you make a redneck movie or something like that, obviously you're going to want rednecks, either directing or acting, and their voices being heard too. I mean, I'm from redneck country, so I mean, I got a lot of respect for the country folks. They're good. They're good people, hard workers. You respect them, they respect you. So yeah,
right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that Friday wouldn't have been as good if it was directed by Woody Allen or somebody.
No.
Yeah, and does it? I don't know. To me, it kind of seems like native representation is really hitting a high mark from what I remember as a kid. As far as there being just more native, I mean, Reservation Dogs, one of the better shows probably ever made, I think. And like you said, Killers of the Flower Moon, people are really like, Hollywood seems to be more willing to lean into, let's get some actual indigenous people on this production and not do the Cody Iron Eyes thing where you get the Italian guy playing a Mexican. Was that his name? The guy that did the commercial with the
Iron
gear? Iron Eyes Cody. That's
Yeah.
right. Iron Eyes Cody. Yeah, he was an Italian guy that portrayed himself as an indigenous person. And also Wahoo McDaniel, old school wrestler, real Indian. Jay Strongbow,
Yeah.
Italian.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, the
so
funny
where
I'm sure you as well. We get mistaken for even being Latino or even Italian now too.
every
So.
day, every single day. Yeah, dude. And yeah, that's I get Pacific Islander quite a bit too, especially when my
Yeah.
hair was long and it gets kind of wavy and crazy. But
Yeah.
so do you think that does it feel like to you that Hollywood that our representation is at a high point and um but do you think it's like we're the flavor of the week?
I think what we have to do now is just keep on rolling with it. We can't stop. I mean, that's why I've written not only a feature film screenplay but a TV pilot as well too. Because I mean, obviously, I'm more than inspired. I mean, Reservation Dogs, favorite show of all time. Actually, I landed a self-tape audition for season 2 to play a tribal cop. I mean, go figure. Once again,
Right.
play a
Yeah.
tribal cop on one show, and then I'm getting an audition for another tribal cop.
Mm-hmm.
And that was beyond. I wouldn't say it was beyond a dream, but it was just like, oh my, I might.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like punk legend Henry Rollins getting an audition for Black Flag, or Jason Newsted, the former bassist for Metallica, getting an audition for his favorite band. I mean, that's how I was feeling.
Yeah.
Didn't land it, but I believe the actor who landed the part, he did a really great job, and I hope to see him in more things. But right now, we just got to keep on rolling with it. The tide and the tide's been growing, so now we just really got to keep on going with it. But it's telling our stories, but at the same time, making to where a non-native audience can understand, because that's always been a problem. I mean, I get asked so many questions when I've shown smoke signals to non-native folks, and they're like, well, what's this mean? Well, why do Indians like to sign paper and everything like that? Because they signed treaties, and those treaties haven't been honored. So or even Powwow Highway too, when Gary Farmer, my acting idol, and I actually did meet him at the Madras Film Festival a few years back. And my heart, and wearing my Fry Bread Power shirt too. I was nice. People ask, well, why did he leave his Hershey bar there on top of that? And it's like, because he was leaving it as an offering. People fasted up there. You can't be eaten. That's disrespectful. So, some of the things the tribal community would be laughing like crazy, but then the non-tribal people were like, man, these people are crazy. What are they laughing about?
Right.
It's like when my grandma and I went to go see Smoke Signals in the movie theater. We're the only two natives in the movie theater, and we're gut rolling at some of the scenes, and we're like, so.
I think it's I auditioned for Res Dogs too. I don't even think I didn't even get a self-tape callback of sorts. And I also did that for Resball, which was a really good movie, and about the Dene basketball team. And I actually read that book before it ever became a movie, and it wasn't until I was watching the movie, I was like, man, I swear to God, I've like seen this before. And then I realized, oh yeah, you read the book like however many years before. But what I think would be good, there needs to be more indigenous representation, more storytelling. But I also want to get to the point where it's not an indigenous movie. It's just a movie.
Yeah.
Let's go see that movie. And then because it looks good and it's not so like niche, it should be as mainstream as anything else.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think honestly, the late Graham Greene, in some ways, he kind of set the standard for that, because if you remember the Die Hard 3, he plays a detective in that. He wasn't a native detective. He was just a detective working.
Right.
I mean, his hair's cut and everything else, but there is nothing that they're not saying anything about his tribal ancestry, nothing. He's just playing a part and everything like that. And so I think that, yeah, I mean, granted, you can't just keep strictly, native. You gotta branch out. I mean, there's been times I've auditioned for parts that were ethnically ambiguous, and they had nothing to do with my tribal heritage.
Right.
So, I mean, I got to play. I auditioned to play a bouncer at a punk club, for just was it, about a year ago. So, it's going to be interesting to see who lands that part. But yeah, it's definitely, you want to branch out to where it's not just strictly native. It's, just this person's an actor or an actress. And I mean, I'd like to see Academy Award nominee Lily Gladstone just play parts that
right.
just her being an actress, not being a native actress.
Right. Yeah, Lily Gladstone, man, she's a badass. She needs some, and also the woman that did the Deer Woman on Reservation Dogs. That lady's badass too. I can't remember. She just had a baby. All those kids, dude. All those kids did amazing. And DeVary Jacobs, she did another show on Disney Plus, a Marvel series, and I know the kid, the Pharaohs, in some kind of World War II movie, I think it is. And I think Willie Jack, she's starting to get back into stuff too. She just had a kid, so those kids were so good, man. They're not kids, but they're kids to us. And they deserve whatever comes after this, because I think they've proven they've got some chops, and they shouldn't be limited to just native roles. They should be doing whatever.
Yeah. It's but as I said before, you got to keep the ball rolling. You can't just, because early 90s, you had Dance of the Wolves, and then you had Thunderheart. You didn't see anything that pertained to the native community for 6 years after that. 98, that's when Smoke Signals, our senior year in high school, or after we graduated. That's when that came out. And then but yeah, it always seems like it goes in like all these like droughts where, it's, you got those 5, 6, 7 years, you don't see nothing, and then boom, something comes up. But recently, with say Reservation Dogs, with Dark Winds, with the other one, something Falls. What was the name?
Yeah, I know what one you're talking about.
Mulholland Falls, I think it was, or something
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep on going, and it really is a bummer, and it sucks that pilot episode that you worked on, that Jana Schmeiding, who I believe she's of Lakota ancestry, but she grew up out in Canby, which is like, it's right outside of Portland. It was cool that a tribal actress was, kind of trying to come back and give back to the native community. I mean, but yeah, it really is. It really sucks that, that it wasn't picked up, and hopefully another streaming platform or network TV will, see something in and want to produce it. So
Prey was another good one with Amber Midthunder. That was a really good movie.
Yeah.
When I met Jana on the set of that show, I just, this is one of those moments that you wish you had back. But, it was just in between takes, and we were kind of just standing around, and I was like, so what do you think of Portland? And she's like, Portland's fine. She's like, I grew up in Oregon City. And I was like, I had no idea. Like, I thought she was, I think I thought because of where Reservation Dogs is filmed, I thought she was from that area. So I had no clue she was from 20 minutes away. And I thought I was really sparking up this interesting conversation about this city that I love. And I'm like, oh, you've lived here pretty much your whole life. All right, well,
yeah.
Thanks for talking, but.
Well, the positive thing about Reservation Dogs, with all the fame and publicity, Jana is a University of Oregon alumni, and she got to speak at one of their commencements. I think it was either this last year she got to speak. Lily Gladstone, she's a University of Montana alumni. She got to speak at that commencement. So the fact that you're hitting more, tribal talent who are alumni of these schools that's actually being the featured speaker, that's really cool. And I think it definitely is very inspiring, especially for the tribal student body as well, too, to say, hey, maybe I can be up there speaking one day too, so. Yeah,
totally. And we don't just have to be the stoic Indian anymore that's gazing off and talking about, this and that. Like, I think people are realizing too, not only are we a beautiful people inside and out, but we're funny, like, and we have range, and we can do anything that's asked of us. And there's a grace to being native that comes from centuries of whatever it may be. But there's an elegance, there's a sportiness, and I think we're if you give us the ball, we can run with it as far as you need to go, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So what would you I think we're going to kind of start wrapping up. How do you think storytelling, how does it help heal? How does it speak to your identity? How does it unite community? Like, storytelling is a big part of our culture. What is it, what role does it play in your world?
I think to a point, I like hearing stories. It doesn't matter where, I played football. I've actually met some former NFL players. One who played for the late Vince Lombardi for the Green Bay Packers. And it was actually one of my University of Idaho college teammates' dad. Well, he also played for the University of Idaho as well, too, and then got drafted by the Packers. But hearing some of his stories, wow, it's amazing just to hear a firsthand account. And even meeting some of the tribal talent, I mean, just hearing their stories that they tell on stage, I mean, then I'm relaying these stories to other people who are fans of the movie. It's definitely important. I mean, whether it's the traditional stories, the creation stories, or just these firsthand accounts of what it was like working on that production or with this actor or actress. I mean, it's important, but especially, like I said, the traditional stories that have been passed down from, generation to generation, hundreds of years, those are definitely the most important that we got to keep going strong. But I mean, storytelling is just it's one of our oldest traditions. I mean, it's the oral tradition. It doesn't matter if it's our, the tribal culture, or if it's any other culture from around the world. That's how communications and traditions got passed on, was people talking about it, not playing on their phone or whatever else. Or when the system of letters and numbers and communication was brought into not only our culture but around the world, then that's how we documented it. But still, always the oral tradition. So
yeah. What do you think you would tell your younger self in Lewiston, Idaho?
I would have told myself to believe in myself a lot earlier. Like all of us, self-esteem issues, inferiority complexes, unhealed trauma not being addressed. I would have told myself, believe in yourself. This is the steps you got to do. You have to be willing to work. It's not going to come to you. You have to put in my acting stuff. I've taken Zoom lessons, and I've attended workshops, and I'm putting the work in. I would have told myself earlier, believe in yourself a lot more than I was at the time.
Yeah. I think the mistake that it's a trapping that's easy to fall into, is to think that your talent is just going to be cultivated on its own. And, one day the Showbiz Commission is going to knock on your door and, well, we're hearing good things, you haven't really done any work, but you seem like you are really into it. Like and maybe it's a little bit different now with TikTok and social media and stuff. You can get a following without having to really do much. But I think and that's the other thing I liked about doing all these parts, is just an extra, and is getting the reps. Like, you're getting used to being on set. You're getting used to taking direction. And I think you have to do that in order to grow. I think you have to start somewhere. And I think it's fine to start as an extra. To be a guy walking by. Like, the last thing I did was for a movie called In Spite of Ourselves. And it's about this Alzheimer's patient. And my scene is like front and center. The guy flips out, and I was a a nurse and I was in scrubs and all that, and I'm trying to hand them food, and uh, I hope I'm not violating an NDA right now, by the way, but they probably won't hear about it. But anyway, like the guy knocks the tray out of my hand and he's yelling at me and hollering at me. And I'm in that scene for a couple seconds, but it's a pivotal scene and I'm going to be
Yeah.
all over it, but I think I started from, a guy walking by or on the librarians. I was just a face in the crowd. I didn't do anything. I was just standing, to being able to be a little more featured and getting on, doing all the auditions, even if you don't get them, getting comfortable with the process and how you present yourself in the audition and how you talk to the people, like all of that is building, it's like it's either adding to the clay and there's times where you're taking away from the clay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just all about putting the work in. I mean, a friend of mine, she's a First Nations woman from Canada, and her name's Dr. Beverly Jacobs. Well, she's Mohawk, and she started out, I believe, just being like a secretary at a law firm, and then she ended up just putting herself through school, and now she has her PhD and she teaches tribal law at the University of Windsor in Windsor, Ontario. So,
Mm-hmm.
but she, like I said, she's from the reserve, and nothing was handed to her. She had to work.
Yeah.
She had to believe in herself, and so very inspiring, especially to the First Nations women, but women in general. My grandma, having been a tribal attorney and judge,
Mm-hmm.
just being that voice and that defense in a modern day system. I mean, we can't just go to war anymore. We have to find other ways to protect ourselves and stand up for each other. So, yeah, very, very amazing and inspiring woman. So I definitely have nothing but great things to say about Dr. Beverly Jacobs.
Yeah. Okay. So what kind of projects? I know you got the screenplay. I got any other gigs you're looking forward to or working on?
Really right now, not much. Obviously I don't want to keep on writing, I want my TV pilot to get picked up, but I don't want to write a whole series if I can't even get it produced. So it's kind of, I've got ideas conjuring up in my head, but like I said, it's more about getting that screenplay polished and getting it to the right people, the investors. I mean, yeah, like I said, we've been at this long enough, so I mean, it's a struggle, but it's at the same time, it's also an adventure as well. So,
Right. Yeah, and schmoozing does not come naturally to me, and I think that's part of the system that we are trying to, navigate is knowing the right people and talking to the right people, saying the right things at the right time, and sometimes even just getting lucky. But I think I love the idea, and I hope it does get made, and I hope you do meet those the people you need to meet. And I
yeah,
think I think that you know we're probably just connected enough that if things line up, it could happen. We're just inside enough because of our experience. You could get it in front of the right people.
yeah, and I always got to tell myself, hey, you're not back in Lewiston, Idaho anymore. This isn't community theater. This is real stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
so, I mean, not that it makes me better or more important than anybody else back there who's still doing community theater or, has ideas. It's just that I had to go to places where the opportunity was. And that's all that it comes down to. Yeah, it's all about opportunity. And I saw the opportunities on a mainstream level here. And I was like, hey, I got to go for it. So,
Yeah. And I like to remind myself that, like, Rodney Dangerfield didn't hit big until he was like 50. So he was out there toiling away in the clubs and perfecting his
yeah.
craft for 20 years probably or longer. And
Yeah.
he finally, and so, yeah, I'll be 46 in January, kind of on that back half of life. And I'm trying to be more conscious of how I'm spending the time I have left. And a lot of it, if it doesn't serve me, I don't think I want to do it anymore. Yeah, dude, I think it's good. And I think if I'm also big on putting energy out and putting the energy out into the universe and manifesting and all that hippy dippy Portland shit, but it actually does work. I've seen it work so many times that I do it constantly. So, well, man, anything else you want to add?
No, thanks a lot. It's been an honor to be on your podcast. This is my first ever podcast, so it's quite a thrill. It's like up there with having worked on a network TV show, Grimm, for the first time. So it's really just one of those like, it really is truly an honor to have been asked to be interviewed on your podcast.
Well, I appreciate it, man, and I think the podcast itself is about storytelling, but it's also I want to amplify voices that get overlooked.
Yeah.
And I love hearing people's stories, dude. And yours is quite interesting to bounce around and end up where you've been and all the things you've experienced and the people you've met. I mean, it's a good story, and I think it's worth telling for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, thank
So
you.
I really appreciate you being on because I've enjoyed every minute of it. I think
All
it's
right.
been great.
Well, thank you so much, Geno. It really means a lot. Thank you so much.
Okay, man. I will talk to you later.
We'll do. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.